Hi, I'm Daniel Gold, and welcome to the subscriber-only version of the Leadership Lab, the audio experience where I bring my Substack posts to life. By day, I'm a partner at BDO USA, but this podcast is my personal passion project, completely separate and apart from my day job, but reflect the same passion that I exhibit everywhere for teaching, mentoring, and helping others succeed through simple, impactful lessons. It is my hope that you'll walk away with practical takeaways to help you on your leadership journey. Thanks for being a part of this community and for joining me in the Leadership Lab. Let's get started. Beyond the sandwich, leading with radical candor. What if the most powerful form of leadership isn't inspiration, but rather honesty? Leadership isn't always inspiring speeches and high fives. Sometimes it's sweaty palms, hard truths, and the courage to lean into discomfort. And how we deliver hard truths matters as much as the truth themselves. Recently, I found myself in one of those moments every leader faces. Project didn't go well, and yes, in the past, I might have reached for the familiar comfort of the sandwich method, wrapping critical feedback between slices of praise, hoping to soften the blow. But this time, I chose a different path. The permission to be direct. Before diving into what went wrong with the project, I did something that felt counterintuitive. I asked for permission to be direct. I'm going to give you some candid feedback about this project, I said. It's going to be straightforward, and it might be uncomfortable, but it's coming from a place of wanting all of us to succeed. That moment of transparency, that simple act of signaling intent, changed everything. Instead of blindsiding my team with criticism disguised as constructive feedback, I created space for honest dialogue. It wasn't about easing into the hard part. It was about showing respect for being clear. This is what Kim Scott calls radical candor, caring personally while challenging directly. But here's where most leadership advice gets it wrong. Too many so-called leaders mistake their title for permission to be brutally honest without consequence. They confuse hierarchy with license, believing that because their signature block says director or VP, they've somehow earned the right to speak without emotional intelligence, consideration, or care. This is leadership's greatest counterfeit, entitled candor masquerading as authentic feedback. The entitlement trap versus earned authority. The difference between entitled candor and earned candor isn't just semantic. It's foundational. Entitled candor says, I'm going to tell you exactly what I think because I'm the boss. Earned candor says, I've built enough trust with you that I can share difficult truths because I genuinely care about your success. Real permission to be candid isn't granted by organizational charts. It's earned through consistent demonstration of the 4 C's of trust. Competence, that means you know what you're talking about. Character, your motives are aligned with the team's success and not your ego. Care, you're invested in their growth, not just their performance or utilization. And finally, consistency. Your feedback comes from the same place every time, genuine concern for excellence. When these elements exist, candor becomes collaboration. Without them, well, it just becomes coercion. Building the foundation for truth. Radical candor doesn't exist in a vacuum. You can't wake up one morning, decide to be brutally honest, and expect your team to say, oh, thank you so much. The permission to speak directly and to receive direct feedback must be cultivated over time through consistent action and demonstrated care. This foundation starts with the leader. It starts with us, dear listeners. When we lead from the heart, when our intentions are transparent and care is evident, we earn the right to have those difficult conversations. Our teams begin to understand that our directness is not an attack, it's an investment in them. It's proof that we believe in their potential enough to tell them the truth, even when the truth is hard to hear. In my recent experience, I could be direct because I've spent years building trust. They know I am invested in their success. They understand that my feedback, however uncomfortable, however direct, was designed to help them grow because I believe in them. And I believe in building them up, not tearing them down. And this trust doesn't happen overnight. It is built through smaller moments of vulnerability, consistency in one's actions, and a track record of supporting their development. The emotional intelligence bridge. The space between too soft, otherwise known as the sandwich method, and too harsh, otherwise known as entitled brutality, isn't empty. It's where emotional intelligence lives. This is where authentic leaders operate. They lead by reading the room and the person. They consider timing, context, and emotional state. They deliver truth with precision, not as a blunt instrument. They follow up with support, not abandonment. The sandwich method, praise, criticism, praise, has dominated management training for decades. And look, on the surface, it really does seem compassionate. But when we bury important feedback between compliments, we dilute its impact. The message gets lost. And worse yet, we train our teams to brace for criticism every time they hear praise, which creates anxiety instead of confidence. The question isn't whether to use any particular method, but whether our feedback, however delivered, builds trust and drives collective excellence. The power of earned candor. When you lead from intention, when your team knows you genuinely care about their growth and the team's success, candor becomes a gift, not a weapon. It becomes evidence of your investment, not proof of their inadequacy. In that project debrief, I didn't sugarcoat what went wrong. I asked direct questions. But I also made it clear that this wasn't about blame. It was about learning and improving together. Because at the end of the day, we're one team. Our success is interconnected. When one of us struggles, we all struggle. When one of us grows, we all benefit. The ripple effect of honest leadership. When done correctly, the team didn't just accept feedback. They build on it, offering their own sights about what could be improved and taking ownership of their roles in both the challenges and the solutions. This is the power of psychological safety combined with radical candor. When people feel secure enough to hear hard truths and share their own perspectives, magic happens. Problems get solved faster. Innovation increases and trust deepens. But perhaps most importantly, everyone rises to meet the moment. When we stop treating our teams like they're fragile and start treating them like capable professionals that they are, well, they respond accordingly. United in purpose, honest in practice. Our clients deserve our best work, delivered by teams that communicate openly, address problems directly, and strive for excellence without excuse. That level of service only happens when we're willing to hold ourselves and each other accountable. Candor in leadership isn't about being harsh or asserting dominance. It's about believing we can achieve more together, because when we speak the truth with care, not just confidence, that's where the magic happens. Radical candor isn't brutal honesty without compassion. It's clear, courageous communication that is rooted in respect. As leaders, we face a choice: default to comfort and technique, or do the hard work of fostering environments where truth-telling is welcomed and growth is shared. Trust is built through directness, not detoured by it. The path forward calls for vulnerability first, honesty always, and a commitment to shared success. When candor becomes connection, conversations become catalysts. And when we lean into discomfort, we don't just lead, we transform. That's what real leadership looks like. That is the gold standard. And if you're looking for a structured space to reflect more deeply, subscribe today and download my Golden Leadership Cycle 90-Day Journal, because that is a great place to start. Remember, leadership isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Take this lesson, put it into action, and continue setting the gold standard in your own life and at work. See you next time.